We cannot become a mature person if there's not some field of relationship that's going on. We're influencing each other all the time. So to realize the truth of who we are means really to be engaged with each other. And the challenge is we're so conditioned to feel separate. And when we feel separate, we think something's wrong with us, and they go together. So one story to share with you, and this was about, I think, 3 years ago at a retreat. One friend from our community, we had a meeting, and he was very sunk in self-doubt and feeling very flawed and feeling very, very isolated. So I asked him, is there anything you like about yourself? I was going to go the metta approach, loving kindness approach. What can you appreciate about your goodness? He said, well, at times I can be kind. And so I wanted to get more in touch with it. I said, okay, an example. When were you kind recently? He said, well, actually yesterday, across the hall, I saw this old woman sitting there on a chair and her legs were dangling because she was too short to reach the ground. So I walked across the hall with my cushion, my cushion under her feet. And it felt awkward. People were watching me, but I felt good about that. So I had him do what I often have people do, is get in touch with that good feeling and feel it and let it, and then get in touch with that sense of connection with this woman that you helped out, and really open to that. And he could do that. And he could feel in those moments he wasn't that small, deficient self. He felt the truth of being in a field, being in that kind of sense of connectedness. And when he was in that, I asked the question, who are you, when you're in that field? And he could feel the freedom of that. That's the freedom of taking refuge in Sangha. So before I said goodbye, I thanked him for his kindness to that old woman across the room. And I let him know that it was my mother, because it was. And of course, we both started crying because it was a very touching moment. But the connections are real. I mean, he wove a connection by reaching out, and we weave those connections, taking refuge in loving relatedness, whether we're reaching out and giving, or whether we're receiving, whether we're appreciating each other or receiving appreciation. There are so many ways that it happens. So that's the outer taking of refuge, and the inner is just as this man did when I said to him, okay, now just feel that, you offered the kindness, and just feel that sense of, that love, that presence that's here. The inner refuge is just opening to loving presence, just feeling it. So let's again take a moment to reflect on this refuge in our loving relatedness in Sangha, and then we're going to move into our ceremony together. Letting yourself feel the inflow and outflow of your breath. And taking some moments just to let go if there's any tension in your body that's obvious. With a relaxed kind of presence, scan your life and just choose somebody that you feel a sense of love for, a sense of belonging with. Perhaps someone that where it's not too complicated. And of course, if that leads you to pet, that's fine. Your dog, your cat's okay. If it's somebody that's not alive, that's fine. But somebody where you can feel, some being you can feel connection with. Bringing that being to mind, like bringing them close in so you're really sensing. You might sense the light in that being's eyes when they're animated or happy. or how they appear when they're offering their care to you. And sense what you love about them. You might sense the being's goodness, loving their goodness. And sense what it's like to feel loved by this being. And relax yourself, just let your heart sense the quality of togetherness, of who you are in your togetherness, in a visceral way. So you let go of any sense of self and other and just feel that warmth, the radiance of what's sometimes described as the empty, open heart, that diamond radiance, that tenderness. This is the essence of refuge and Sangha and relatedness. Sense the feel, the heart space that's here. And when we wake that up, you can begin to bring others into it, to sense others in your life and just let them float in that heart space. These are the words of Mary Oliver. So every day, so every day, I was surrounded by the beautiful crying forth of the ideas of God, one of which was you. So every day, so every day, I was surrounded by the beautiful crying forth of the ideas of God, one of which was you. And again, just taking a few full breaths. This is the sense of refuge, taking refuge in Sangha and loving relatedness.